Today's show is sponsored by SLC Global. SLC Global is a woman-run company by none other than my fave, my friend, the incredible Simone Craig. She is a wealth expert and coach who loves advising her clients from all around the world how to have the mindset and money management skills to create a thriving business and live a wealthy and joyful life. Get a free report called Manifest $5,000 in 5 days at manifestwithsimone.com/5K. Hello, mi gente, and welcome to the season premiere of Hey Nini. I have missed this show. I have missed this show so much. I could cry. We have been working diligently so hard to come back and create a space that is safe for your healing, for your light, for your life. And it's been a journey, but we are back. We're back. Today's show is all about light conquering the dark and how we have the power to persevere and pick ourselves up from the depth of anything that life throws our way. Our special guest this week is Andrea Perrin. She's an author, a speaker, a ufologist. She is an incredible human being and dear friend. As always, we have our crystal of the week, our oracle card of the week. We have a new segment to the show, Planet V, by our very own Mel. Our producer, director, everything behind the scenes, genius. This is her heart's work, and I hope you guys enjoy it as much as she enjoys eating it. Okay? Every week we'll have something new for you guys because Hey Nini is all about aligning your mind, your body, your spiritual being. And so we're incorporating all that in the next 8 shows moving forward. Bringing it back to center, light conquering the dark. Guys, I think that we all did this as a whole, all of 2020, right? We overcame one of the hardest years of our lives by unifying the heart-centered self, by communicating, by supporting, by being aware, by respecting, and we're all here and better for it. That's the prayer, that's the hope. We've all had our moments in life where we were challenged by our own shadow selves, our personal triggers, and rising above those belief systems that have been in place. The light that dwells within me dwells within you. And we've all heard that before, right? Namaste. And when we can't find that light within us, I pray that you have a tribe of people around you that can share their heart light with you. Because light does conquer the dark in every way, shape, or form. And I believe that our special guest, Andrea Perrin, today is a perfect example of that. And I look forward to bringing her on later on in the show. Andrea is on the road right now. She has an event this weekend up in Rhode Island. And so we're hoping we can get her on. But Andrea and I had the pleasure of having a conversation earlier on in January of 2020 before COVID became what took over everyone's life. And we'll be sharing that later on today in the show. So sit tight, and we will be right back after this brief break with the crystal of the week. All right. Soulshine Crystal. It's the candy store for the soul, located in Avon, New Jersey. You can go there in person and shop, or you can shop online at www.soulshinecrystals.com and check out their online store. All right. Guys, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. I want to say a big thank you to all our sponsors of the Hey Nini Show. We couldn't do this without you guys. Thank you so much to the collective, incredible entrepreneurial women who have supported us this far. The Crystal Cam of the Week is brought to you by Soulshine Crystal. And we are showing you here the clear quartz. The clear quartz is the queen of crystals, guys. It's the queen of crystals. If you're going to have anything in your cabinet, let it be a clear quartz, okay? It is incredible. It is great for absorbing energy. It is the master healer. It is the regulator, the releaser. It also helps with concentration and memory. Maybe I need to use it more. It also stimulates your immune system. And it's great for memory. And overall health balance. I might have to shove one in my bra. Under my hat. So thank you so much, Soulshine Crystal, for our Crystal of the Week. It's a beauty. It's a clear quartz. And it could be yours if you want it. Just go on www.soulshinecrystal.com. All right. So I want to share with you guys the Oracle card of the week. And during COVID, I received a package for my birthday by a dear friend out in California, Marsha. And she sent me this deck, and I fell in love with it instantly. And for the life of me, I really don't know if I shared this before, and if I have, it's okay, because you're never going to get tired of it. This week's tarot card, oracle card, angel card, is the White Light Oracle, okay? The White Light Oracle. And let me just open it up here, because it is beautiful. I know we have it up on the screen, but I really want you guys to see this also in person. I know Mel is doing her mastery over there. So let me just share a little bit, because for those of you who don't know what the meaning of this card is, it's the Seraph of the 963rd Hertz. For those of you who don't understand what Hertz are, it's a vibration, it's a frequency, okay? And a frequency that is connected and constant with the divine order of things. A seraph is a realm of angels that works hand in hand with the divine creator. And here's a little bit extra for that. We all fall from a realm. We all come from grace. Every single one of us. I want to share this because it really is quite beautiful. And I didn't want to make something that it wasn't. So pardon me while I get my glasses, because sister isn't as young as she used to be. So the Seraph of the 963rd Hertz, practicing and connecting to the joy that is always deep within you. Pay attention to what brings you exquisite delight. If you don't know what is, you are guided to experiment and explore. Connecting to the joyful capacity of your heart, you will heal so much negativity and uncertainty. Let your heart relax, allow your spirit graced that wishes to reorder your life to manifest its miraculous magic. I didn't want to add anything to this message because I believe it truly is what it's supposed to be for those that it serves. Where's my glasses? All right. I hope that serves so many of you. And where are we? Planet V, guys. Let me just, if we don't have the little clapping machines, but let me just give it a little round of applause. A little round of applause for Planet V. Again, this is the heart work of our producer, director, Melly Mel Reyes. She is a huge advocate for healthy eating, and I'm a huge advocate for a healthy life. So let's align here. Guys, enjoy this new segment of Hey Nini, and I'll leave you to Planet V. y'all. I just said that with the twang, didn't I? Quinoa tacos. Listen, I don't know how they got it done so fast, but it looks great. It looks great, and I have you know that she did not even offer me one, bring any, nothing. Nothing at all. At any rate, guys, I hope you enjoyed Planet V. Next week, we'll have something else. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back. I'm sitting here, and I feel like the spiritual Jimmy Kimmel. All right, all right, all right. So here we are. We're back. We're going to be getting Andrea on the line. Let's hope that she answers her phone. So give us 2 seconds, and we'll be right back after this sponsor commercial. Or not. That's live TV for you. Mel.
I know.
All right, guys. Well, if you're not on YouTube and you're just watching me on Facebook, then it's all good. It doesn't matter because you guys are here for all the behind-the-scene magic anyway, right? So we're going to be getting Andrea on the line so she can be on with us. And we're going to go ahead and watch the interview that her and I had back in January of 2020.
Okay.
What's going on?
I think we moved the
It said something ejected from over there.
Okay. So let's go back to your watch out because
Hit that over. Can you bring it back up? It said eject main before disconnecting. So,
alright, so just talk.
all right, perfect. So, let me tell you a little bit about Andrea. Andrea is an author, a speaker, a ufologist, a spiritual sister of mine. She's an extraordinary human being. And when she was a child, Andrea lived in a farmhouse out in Rhode Island. And her and her family had some pretty intense experiences. If any of you have heard of the movie The Conjuring, Andrea grew up in that house, that farm, that land, which that movie takes place in. Now, when I was speaking to Andrea, one of the things that really struck me was that she said what happened there was, yes, a phenomenon. But she also talked about when she wrote her books and it being more of a love story, so to speak, a spiritual evolution, not just for herself, but for her family alike. And her family grew closer because of the experience. Now, I'm going to be quite honest. It's totally the opposite of what I thought I was going to hear. When I went there to speak with Andrea, I thought she was going to tell me some sort of crazy horror stories. And granted, she had some experiences. But when she, excuse me, but when she spoke about the home, when she spoke about the time that her family spent there, she said it with such love in her voice that I didn't even get chills, at least none from fear. At best, it was just how gracious she was about expressing it and the interest that she took in understanding the history of the home she grew up in. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I mean, for a living, I talk to dead people. This is it. I'm a medium. But if things start going bump in the night, I'm that person running out of the movie theater that's screaming, "Not me, I'm not the one." Okay? She lived this experience where her mother really took on the blunt of what was going on there. And her sisters they would bear witness to it, while their father traveled quite a bit to provide for the family at the time. So, how would you guys have handled that? How would you guys have stayed in a home that there was disruption? Like I said, I would have been running out the door. Okay? I would have been running out the door. So what I love about Andrea and her person and her story is that she's so open with how she speaks about things. And she just welcomes you right into her world. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to just share this with you guys, okay? I'm going to share this incredible interview that her and I youtube.com/in-caps-hey-Nene. And we'll be back after. I'll see you guys in about 25 minutes.
Go ahead.
All right. So we're going to be watching the interview that I shared with Andrea Perrin. I hope you guys enjoy this as much as I enjoyed spending time with my dear and wonderful friend. I'll see you guys back in a little bit as soon as it's done. So today we are here with my incredible friend, so beautifully gifted, and I'm so grateful that you've welcomed me into your home, Andrea. Annie.
Yeah, I'm your Annie.
Annie. And this has been a long time coming.
Yeah.
For so many reasons. I haven't seen you since September of 2015.
Yeah.
And so much life has happened in between September 2015 and January 2020 for the both of us.
Yes.
Right? Professionally, personally, it has
In every
been
way.
such a roller coaster, right?
Mm-hmm.
And still in all, even though you and I don't talk every day, I would
Yes,
hop
we
on,
do.
the heart lady.
Right there, yeah.
I would hop on your Facebook page and say, where is she doing? What is she doing? Where is she? What's going on in her life? And then I see your beautiful, loving posts, and I said, okay, she's okay. And I go about my life, and then maybe a month or two, I'll say, oh, what's Annie doing? Okay, she's okay. But a little bit about you and your family. Your family, you lived in the home where the movie The Conjuring was.
Well, the movie The Conjuring was made very loosely based,
Yeah.
like XXX large, loosely based on our story. It was actually based on the case files of Ed and Lorraine Warren. And then the subsequent series of films was all different case files that they had. But the first one was about our family. And that is a trilogy, and it's the whole true story about what happened to my family, which I consider to be predominantly a love story with maybe a wicked supernatural twist, but it was about love. It was about family. You know, people who want to read these books and are looking to be scared witless, don't bother. There's plenty of other material out there, whether it be real or imagined, that they can read that will scare them witless. What this trilogy will do is open your third eye. It literally makes you see a whole other realm that you didn't necessarily know existed, but you get to see it through the eyes of each member of my family. So I call it a collective memoir. It's not meant to be a history book. You know, there's some people say, well, it wasn't Bathsheba that did it. Well, no, it wasn't Bathsheba that did it. Mrs. Warren sensed a presence. She said Bathsheba, and it stuck.
It's no wonder they're going through what they are. That's the original farmhouse. It's built in 1863 by a man named Judson Sherman, who was married to a woman named Bathsheba. And she's related to Marytown Estey. She's one of the women accused of witchcraft in Salem. She was hung during the trials.
Wow.
So after Bathsheba married Judson, they had a baby. And when the baby was 7 days old, Judson caught her sacrificing it in front of the fireplace. She ran out to that tree by the dock, climbed up, proclaimed her love to Satan, cursed anyone who tried to take her land, and hung herself.
But the spirit that was haunting and taunting my mother in that house was long dead before Bathsheba was ever born. And, you know, I've had communications with her. And one time I did a spirit box session with George Lopez, my co-author on In a Flicker. And we asked to speak with her. So much flooded through, he had to back the rest of them off and let me talk to her. And when she came through, she threw my voice. And he said, no, you use your own voice or we're done here. And what came through was what sounded like the voice of a 12-year-old girl. And I recognized it instantly. She was a very diminutive woman, very small in frame, and had a high-pitched voice. And I knew it from, she never lived at the farm. She wasn't an Arnold. She had something to do with the farm. And until I pass out of this realm, I'm not going to know for sure. But I've been her great defender. I've done, you know, I've tried to point out to people the power of lies, the power of hearsay. She was accused of murdering a baby in that farmhouse, and there was no proof that she did it. And so there was an inquest, and she got off the hook because she said, I didn't do anything to hurt this baby. I didn't, you know, if something happened, it was an accident. I didn't do it. But she lived her whole life.
All right, guys, I am so excited to bring on my dear friend, author, ufologist, speaker, incredible overall human being, Andrea Perrin. We got her on the phone and she is on the road. Hi, Andrea.
Hi, oh, it's so great to join you, sweetheart.
So today we are here.
I wish I was too, but you know, we've got this. We've got some technology at our disposal.
Thankfully, right?
Yeah.
I was watching our interview, and you know, from time to time, I would just randomly text you, I love you. I love our interview. I love us. And when I watch it, there are times, there's a part which everyone will see where you're speaking and it looks like you're coming to tears, and it always brings me to tears just to feel that. But man, what a story. What a life. What an experience.
It has been a wonderful life. And you know, the thing is that if you had asked me 10 years ago if I would even know someone like you, I would have laughed. I would have been like, yeah, right. Not in this lifetime. Well, yeah, apparently in this lifetime I got to know you and consider you a close personal friend, and my life is enriched and graced for it.
Thank you. Thank you. Those are shared sentiments and feelings, honey. Can I just say, because we're going to be back and forth having some dialogue in between the interview. I know there's so many people who are just wanting to hear so much more about it. But at any time, because one of the things that struck me is like, well, when you and I spoke, when we had this interview, there wasn't a shiver. There wasn't a sense of fear at all.
No, I don't have any fear. I figure what I've witnessed in this life is about as much as any human being has ever had to process, and I got through it. And I don't have any fear of the spirit realm. I am grateful for having seen what I've seen, experienced what I've experienced. It taught me so much. It's the reason I went into philosophy in college. It's the foundation of everything I've done with my life. And I can't even imagine my life otherwise, like how it would have gone had I not had this experience as a child.
Here's one thing that was beautiful to me. You said this was a spiritual experience.
Yes.
A spiritual experience. I'm going to leave it right there, and we're going to discuss that when we get back from watching a few more minutes of this interview, honey.
Okay, excellent. I'll be waiting.
Love you. So today we are here with my incredible...
She got off the hook because she said, I didn't do anything to hurt this baby. I didn't, if something happened, it was an accident. I didn't do it. But she lived her whole life with the specter, the black pallor of death over her. And I can't vindicate her, nor can I absolve her of any responsibility in the death of the baby. We don't even know if it was an Arnold baby or if it was her own baby. 3 of her 4 children died before the age of 4. And they're all buried beside her in the Riverside Cemetery in Harrisville. But I choose instead to give her the benefit of the doubt. And so in the volume 3 of the trilogy, I wrote a whole chapter about the season of the witch and went back as far back as you can go in my research to the first time that word ever appeared in written language and what it meant and the millions and millions of lives that it cost because of rumor, innuendo, superstition, ignorance. And I'm sad to say that it was a woman who started it, the Queen of England. And that is the power of fear. But the point of the trilogy is that good conquers evil and love conquers fear. And that's how it was for us. And, I talked to my mother once about this, and, she always said, fear the living, not the dead.
That's right.
And she said, we lived in that house for a decade. She said, we could leave the farmhouse, but the farmhouse will never leave us. And she said that the thing that she found most compelling about the experience in retrospect, in hindsight being 2020, was that it was the most enlightening decade of her life. And she's 80 years old now and in somewhat failing health, but she has no fear of death at all. At all.
I think that she faced a lot of it there.
She did.
One of the stories that stick out to me from when we first met and some of our many conversations was an experience that you encountered with your mom at the time, where I believe you said you walked into the dining room and there was something transpiring with your mom at the dining room table.
It was her moment of enlightenment. I remember telling you that. It was her epiphany is what it was. She had been, it was after the Warrens had come and done a seance that went horribly wrong and almost cost her life. It wasn't their fault. They were trying to help, but they were in over their heads. Mrs. Warren admitted it to me. But a few months later, that happened in August of 74, and it was in October of 74 that she was wasting away. I mean, she was wasting away. She was trying to live on coffee and cigarettes.
Yeah.
No can do. And she just seemed like she was lost to us, you know? And one night, it was late, it was about 10:30, and I had cooked dinner for my sisters. Dad was on the road, and he had to be gone a lot because he had to keep that roof over our heads, and he had his own business, and he had a trunk business. He sold goods all the way from Ohio to Quebec to Florida. So he was gone sometimes for, a couple of weeks at a time. And so we were home, and she got up came out of her room, and stood on the hearthstone of the fireplace. And she said, "I'm hungry." Well, that was music to my ears. I couldn't remember the last time I'd seen her sit and eat a whole meal. And so she said, "What did you make for dinner?" I was 15. I said, "I made beef stew." And she said, "Well, could you warm me some up, and could you make me a short pot of coffee?" I'm like, "Mom, it's like late for coffee." And she said, "No, honey, it's the nectar of the gods." I always used that phrase ever since. And so I had to walk from the parlor through the dining room that was huge and all closed down for the night, through the front foyer, into the kitchen, into the pantry, off the kitchen. Microwaves hadn't been invented yet, so I had to get the pot of stew out, dip some out, warm it, make the coffee. So I was gone 10 or 15 minutes. In the interim, she reached over, grabbed a log, and threw it on the fireplace, which was raging because it was cold. It was October. And when I came back into the room, she was smiling, standing in front of the fireplace, smiling broadly. She glowed. What had happened was, after I had walked through the completely shut down, darkened house, she threw the log on the fire and heard laughter behind her. And she turned around and she looked into the dining room, and none of the furniture in the dining room was our own. There was a hand-hewn oak table with benches on both sides. The fireplace that had been sealed for more than 100 years when we moved in was wide open. There was a woman cooking a pot of stew over the fireplace, and her children were running around, and she was telling them to take their seats for dinner. And there were two men sitting on the other side of the table, and they had pewter steins with them, which is indicative of the 1700s, because pewter was outlawed in the 1800s because of the lead content, for eating purposes. And the men were sitting side by side, and one of them turned and he looked into the parlor, and his face changed. And he nudged the man sitting behind him, and he pointed her out. And she was the ghost.
Wow.
She was the ghost.
Isn't that
So they were looking into the future while she was simultaneously looking into the past. And that's when it made sense.
It's all happening at the same time.
That's when she came back to us.
Everything is happening at the same time.
Yes.
It's a
In
metaphysical
multiple
dimensions. It's a metaphysical understanding that the afterlife is just about 3 feet in distance away from us.
Yeah.
And so we only die in body.
Yeah.
And so if that was your home, wouldn't you go back home?
Yeah.
Right? And so I just want to share this little bit of understanding. I feel as though she's a lot more connected to the land than the house.
Yeah. Yeah. And there were a number of spirits that were more connected. April saw a whole cluster of little Indian children there. When she was a child, she was about 9, maybe 10, and she had gone out. I mean, we had 200 acres of land. We were absolutely free to roam. Neither one of our parents ever said, "No, you can't go there. No, you can't do that." What Mom and Dad said was, "Use your head." And off you go. And I mean, they bought that farm for us so that we could live in nature, so we could be surrounded by beauty. And so we were never held back. We were never, "Wait until I can come with you." Off we went. And she went down to the river, crossed the bridge that my father had built when we moved down there because the other one had fallen into the river. And she went off into the pine grove. And she was just sitting in the pine grove surrounded by mountain laurel and lady slippers. And she looked up and there were a whole group of little kids dressed as Indians from the Nipmuc tribe. It was their land.
And
First.
it continues to be so.
And it continues to be so because the thing that she did not understand when she told us the story, that she couldn't wrap her head around, and nor can I. Even at this, I'm 61, I still haven't figured this out. How could those children, who obviously all died at once, because there were some terrible floods that had passed through there, and if they were playing in the pine grove, they probably got swept away in a rushing flood. But they were stepping over the lady slippers so as not to hurt them. They were playing around trees that did not exist there when they lived there. Mr. Kenyon, who we bought the house from, is the one that planted the pine grove 200, 300 years later. And yet they were present in this dimension for that period of time where they were back on that land, being respectful of the land and playing hide and seek in a pine grove that didn't exist until after their deaths.
So is it then possible to believe that they are limitless in seeing what we're doing, and it is our ego mind that limits us?
That could very well be. And I have a tendency to agree with you.
I am a huge fan of trance work. Huge. And I don't... Hello, Andrea.
Hi.
Hi. What an interview. What an interview. I have questions upon questions upon questions every time I watch it. Are you ready, sister? Are you ready? Because I'm just wowed every time I think of something else that I wish I would have asked that day that we were sitting together in your beautiful Florida home.
Well, ask away. I am at your disposal, my sweet.
Well, we left off on you saying this was a spiritual experience. Can you just elaborate a little bit on that? Because I'm sure that some of the viewers are probably thinking, how could it have been a spiritual experience if the house was haunted, quote unquote?
Well, let me put it to you this way. We human beings are the ones that attach the Post-it notes to experiences. We get our Sharpies out and we write, this is good, and stick the note on an experience and then file it away in our minds. And then we get the Sharpie out and we write, this is bad, and stick that Post-it note on that experience. And the question that I ask is, what if it just is? What if the spirits that acted up in that house were doing so for a reason, to get our attention? What if they were so unhappy in life and so unhappy in afterlife that they reached out to those on the other side that were sharing their abode and let their presence be known to people who could sense them, who could feel them, who could see them? And maybe there was a reason for that. There's some reason why they're stuck. There's some reason why the vast majority of human beings who pass away move on to who knows where. And then there are some that are stuck. And I think that the logical question is why? And what can I do to help?
Can I just share a little something on that topic? From my understanding, when there's a spirit who is, let's just say, in between the veils, and they want to be heard and seen. It's imagine being stuck in a closet. You're going to do whatever you can so that people can hear you and help you get out of the closet, right?
Right.
And I believe I'm agreeing with you in the sense that they're making noise. I think we can both agree that some of those spirit energies are definitely a little bit more low vibrating, but
Yes,
not
certainly.
all are low vibrating. When I go in to do house clearings and such, people, my clients will tend to ask, "What's the scariest thing you've ever seen?" or "Aren't you afraid?" And 9 out of 10 times the answer is no, because it's just a matter of helping them transition to a place of light. When we transition from physical to spirit, we are still connected to some sort of ego vibration. And we evolve beyond that in, well, I don't want to use time because spirit doesn't use time. We're finite, not them. But I agree with you. Maybe they're just making some noise.
Well, there was one spirit in the house that I think really, really hated my mother. And I don't know what her reasoning was for it. I don't understand why anybody could hate my mother, who is one of the kindest, gentlest, most beautiful human beings on this planet. I don't understand what the reasoning was for that, or why she was targeted the way that she was. But the lesson that I took from that was from my mother. Not that it happened, but how she handled it. That was, my mother taught me as a child how to be strong and resilient and to handle whatever came your way in life. That if there was an obstacle, there had to be a way around it. And I'm not saying she was never scared. There were times she was terrified, but she was mostly terrified for her children because she didn't want us to experience what she was experiencing. And we were terrified for her because we didn't want her to have to go through what she was going through. But I'll tell you, once she resolved it, once she understood what was happening in that house, the activity, it never ceased, but it became far more benevolent. The ugliness and the darkness just seemed to dissipate. And they didn't want us to leave that house. I firmly believe that. I will go to my own grave believing that we were protected in that house and that we were loved. My mom basically had to ask the spirits to let us go because they put the house on the market in 1980, and it was on the market for 6 months, and nobody ever once called. And she said, she said to them one day, "I know you're the ones that are doing this. You're keeping us here. You're forcing us to stay here, and I don't know why, but you must let us go. I need to go. I'm not thriving here. I need to move on from this place." And it was, my father took matters into his own hands and went to the abutting landowners and offered them a very sweet deal on the property so that we could make our great escape. But you know what? You know as well as I do, Nini, there is once you are touched by spirit, that door is open forever. It will never close again. Our experience with the farm will never be over. And it's just a matter of learning how to live with it.
Right.
How to live with the dead. Yeah.
It's like that saying, you can take the person out of the such and such, but you can't take the such and such out of the person. So
that's right.
I just want to be clear, because in our conversation, in the movie The Conjuring, right, which is a loosely based, very loosely based, like a double XL, I believe you said, loosely based version of your actual experience at the farm. You made it very clear that they perceived it to be Bathsheba, but you believe that it was not Bathsheba.
No, I really don't believe that. Bathsheba did not die by hanging. She died from a stroke, and it shut down her vital organs, and that was in 1885. And I firmly believe that the spirit that was haunting and taunting my mother was long dead before Bathsheba Sherman was even born. And she was not a member of that family. She lived in an adjacent farm about a mile, maybe a mile and a half away. Now, there were only a few homesteads at that time in that area, so it would stand to reason that all the families knew each other. And I think that she does have some attachment to that house, which is inexplicable. The story of her, supposedly sacrificing an infant. And that all came out of the kind of opinions of people that lived in the area at the time. That's the damage that rumor and innuendo can do. You know, if it had ever been proved that Bathsheba was a practicing witch that murdered a baby, do you think for one moment that she would be buried in hallowed ground in the middle of Harrisville? Absolutely not.
Absolutely not, honey. And I'm getting messages here. People want to know what next, what next, what next. So we're going to take a quick commercial break, and we're going to come back, and I'm going to ask you one question to Sidan when we come back so you can answer it for me. If you had one question to ask Bathsheba, what would it be? And we'll hear that when we come back. I'm sitting here and I feel like the spiritual Jimmy Kimmel. So today we are here with my incredible friend, so beautifully
readers and so on about a decade ago, and have intermingled with some of the top ufologists in the world. I was a ufologist before that term was invented.
I remember you were going to Vegas after we first met.
Yep. And it is, it's all that matters to me. All that matters to me. I think there are two pertinent questions that humanity has a right to ask. And one of them is there something beyond this? Yes. According to my experience, my knowledge, this isn't belief, this isn't having faith, this is nothing about that. This is my knowledge that there is something beyond our mortal existence, because I've experienced it, I've seen it with my own eyes. My sensory receptors are fine. I saw my first full body apparition when I was 12 years old. It's taken me a while to process all of this and to try to wrap my mind around it, Buttercup. But I can answer unequivocally for myself. Yes, I'm not trying to coerce or convince anybody of anything, nothing. Everybody can think whatever they want. I don't care. I'm not here to teach them. I'm here to love them. The love will teach them.
Right.
So, the second question, which I think is even more pertinent, is, are we alone in the universe? Oh, hell no. We are so not alone. It's ridiculous how not alone we are. And when I was 13...
I think that if they came out of their, let's call it shells,
yeah,
the world would not know how to react. It's too scary.
honey, they're waiting for us to come out of our shell.
Thank you very much.
They're waiting for us to peck our way out of our 3D, 5-sensory realm that is so tiny and so limited.
The thought to the everyday person, because most people are fear-based in many ways.
We are all free-based
Right.
carbon units in one way or another. All of us
It
are.
can be, I don't want to use the word scary, because I think it's intimidating.
Yes.
I can't even say unexpected, because I believe most people know, they just don't know how to face it. And I guess just downright, it can be scary. I guess I'm going to just say it can be very scary that there is an unknown, because anything that's unknown in our life. So today,
That I would choose.
thank you,
You know, and I know that I would choose.
thank you.
You know, and I know that's high compliment. I know that it is. I feel like I'm only slightly attached to this world. Go find Grandpa. Go find Grandpa. And in the new book that I just wrote, A Wonder to Behold, there's a chapter called The Chicken and the Egg. And one night, I'd been working hard on my screenplay and other stuff that I'm working on, and I went to bed, and it was very late, and I got this in bed, physically. And I'm like, no, I'm not coming outside. No, I'm tired. I'm going to sleep. I rolled over. I got up. I went outside, threw my robe on. It was the middle of winter. It was a little nippy down here. And I said, what? And I got flash. And not a light. I often see the lights. I see the vessels. I've got all kinds of communications with them. But it wasn't that. It was in here. It was in here. And it was a memory from when I was 12 years old. And we had just moved to the farm. It was our first spring there. And Mom and Dad decided they wanted us to have farm fresh eggs. And so they found out there was a chicken farm just over the border in Connecticut. And they took all of us over there with them so that Dad could make friends with the farmer. Mom could make friends with the farmer's wife. And we could play on their farm while, they bought some eggs. Well, when we got there, she took us into the hatchery. And all the eggs were just lined up in these warmers and these incubators for the ones that they were going to allow to hatch out. And I got so excited because I saw one of the eggs moving, and I saw a tiny little beak pecking its way out through the shell, and I reached over to crack the egg, and my mother took my hand and she retracted it, and she very kindly said, "Oh no, honey, you can't crack the egg for the chick or it will die." Well, I freaked. I came that close to murdering an innocent baby chick out of sheer ignorance, not knowing that if I cracked that egg, it wouldn't have the strength to live outside of it because I did the work for it. So what she was trying to tell me is that the amount of energy that it takes for that chick to peck its way out of its egg and what it learns in the process of doing that and the strength that it builds to do that is what gives it all it needs to survive outside the egg. They can't crack the egg for us. We have to do it ourselves. That's the message they gave me. That's why I had to go outside. I don't know why they couldn't have given me that message while I was in my comfy bed. Apparently I had to go outside to receive it, but it hit me like a brick. And the reason that it did was because I learned that lesson well at 12 years old. I did not need to retain it in this memory. It had moved to this memory. I didn't need for it to be right here. It was there. I knew that. But I did not, so I never made that mistake again. Yeah. I moved on with my life and just basically forgot about it.
But it was the life lesson in that.
How did they know to give me a flash of that moment and then have me extrapolate from it what the intrinsic meaning of it was?
Maybe it's for the world to hear.
Yes, it is.
Not maybe, it is for the world.
And that's why it's got its own chapter in the book.
I love that. Let's talk a little bit more about your new book.
I'm very excited about it. I consider it the best work of my life. I consider it the most important work of my life. It's called A Wonder to Behold, Guideposts for Intergalactic Engagement with Humanity. They made me put that on there. They gave me the title, they gave me the subtitle, and said, don't worry, it'll fit on the cover. I get downloads on a regular basis. I've learned how to take them in for decades.
So is it like a workbook?
It isn't. What it is it's an extended love letter. It's almost 500 pages long.
Wow.
It includes every major experience that I've had. It would be 10,000 pages long if I included every single experience, but all the ones that were really important, that were life-changing for me in my own spiritual evolution, in my ascension, in my personal growth, and in my connection with them through cosmic consciousness, universal consciousness.
Do you believe that your connection is one or multiple in the download, or is there one main guide?
No, there's multitudes of them. I'm in contact with a number of different races. Only the ones that are light beings. Only the ones that are operating for the greater good. Truly altruistic beings that are here to help, even if they do so in what seems to be in a benign or an almost oblivious way, because most people are walking around oblivious anyway. But what they are doing is they're surrounding this planet. They're trying to raise the frequency of the planet, to literally change the vibration of humanity so that we get away from the darkness and step into the light. What they're trying to help us do is transition from 3D to 5D. 4D is considered where the spirit realm. A lot of, quantum physicists and talk about 4D as, the place where spirit dwells. None of us know. However, this is the dawning of the age of Aquarius. We are coming into the 5th dimension, and it is a spiritual ascension. We are literally, what they are doing is they are bombarding this planet with crystalline light, and it is literally altering our DNA from carbon-based to crystalline light-based. That's what's going on. And I say that to people and they're like, what? And who told you that?
But we are.
But we are. And in the same way, this process is invisible. In the same way that the air that we breathe to stay alive, to have this conversation, is invisible. It doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
Right. And please correct me if I'm wrong. Part of that 5D realm lacks physical voice. It's all connectivity
It's right
for
here.
the mind
Right
and
here.
energy, right? The pineal gland
Yeah.
and everything.
Yeah.
So as we continue to evolve as beings, we'll use less of this and more of this.
Most communication between human beings is telepathic in nature. Most.
I think we were in the car yesterday and we were having just like a fun conversation. I turned around and I said to Ariosa, I said, not you. And she said, oh, I was just thinking that. I'm like, I know. I heard you. Do you remember that? And, I realize that I connect differently than most people. And sometimes I have conversations and don't even realize that they're not a part of it. But that's the magic in evolving.
It is.
And we can only invite people to go on this journey with us. We can't force them, right?
Right.
And eventually they either catch on or they fall off and they have their own experience. And I think that it's important to share the what's to come.
Mm-hmm.
So if there was one message, we're going to close out with this. If there is one message that they would want us to hear, what would that be?
Be the light you seek.
Yeah.
Love is everything. There's nothing else that matters but love. Higher love. A love that's so pure. I've never felt it on earth except once. Just once with one person. And not even for my family. My love for them is it's like, I love them in such a way that it's like they are me. I'm them and they are me. Mm-hmm. It's that kind of, it's ingrained love. It's like, it's so permanent. It's ridiculous. It's forever.
Like my daughters say to each other, you're my instant best friend. Like it just, that's it.
Yeah, that's it. And but it's not even what I feel for my family and my very closest friends. It's higher love. And it comes from them. It comes from the ascended masters. It comes from source.
And you feel it right in here, right down to your heart chakra.
Right here.
So I think this kind of brings us full circle where we were talking about ministry and faith and theology, that at the core of every single thing, regardless of what our beliefs are, it always circles back to love.
Always. It's everything.
No
and
matter,
it's the only thing powerful enough to heal the world.
No matter what color we are, what race we are,
That's right.
what planet we come from,
That's
what galaxy.
We are.
Right?
It's the realization of oneness that will cause us to make the leap into the 5th dimension. We suffer from an illusory sense. It's an illusion, a sense of separation. We suffer from that, you know. I mean, we talk about our tribe is our paranormal tribe, but they're really, people are like really tribal. Like, you know, this is my group. We don't agree with you. We don't like you. I can't talk to you. You know, we separate, and as though we're not in concert with nature, as though we're not in concert with each other. And I truly believe that it is the realization of oneness, that all existence is one thing. Consciousness is one thing. Life is one thing.
It is.
One human race.
One.
You know,
We are one people, and
we
I
are.
say this time and time again. When we are in that higher realm, when I'm communicating with angels and I'm sitting in my trance or in meditation, angels have never come through and said I
Mhm.
or me.
Mhm.
They always speak in a collective form,
Yeah.
we and us.
Yeah.
Because outside of the ego mind, there's no division.
They're extraterrestrials, you know.
Outside of the ego mind, there is no
That's right.
division.
There is no division.
And so
At all.
anything beyond this human state of existence, even animals,
Hmm.
they vibrate on that oneness.
Yes. Yes.
We are the only species that divide.
Yes. And we've got to get over ourselves. We simply must.
And that can only happen one conversation at a time.
That's right.
And we pray for the ripple effect.
We are the point of disclosure. We are.
Andrea, thank you.
Oh, honey,
Thank you for having this conversation with me. Thank you for opening up your home, your life, your thoughts, your heart.
I adore you.
I love you. Remember, your heart is your home. Always welcome yourself back home.
Hi.
We're back.
Oh, that's great.
Girl,
You know where I am, right?
you're up in Rhode Island, aren't you?
I am up here to do the live stream this weekend from the farm.
From the farm, girl.
Yeah, from
right,
the farm.
right where all the magic happens.
Yeah, it is. Anybody that wants to join in and be part of this immersive and interactive event all they need to do is just hop online and go to thedarkzone.tv, and there's a link there for it.
Mm-hmm.
And anybody that wants to can be a part of this. We're counting on having eyes on screens and letting us know what's happening from room to room, because we can't be everywhere in the house at the same time.
Oh, so you guys are going to be set up all over the house?
All over the house. Yep. The only room that will not have cameras is the bathroom. That's it.
I love this. I love it. So, can you give us? Let's get that website again, so that people know how to join in.
Yeah, it's thedarkzone.tv.
Thedarkzone.tv, guys. You can join in. She will be at the farm this weekend, where her books, House of Darkness, House of Light, it was all based from living there in your younger years till 1980. I believe you said you sold the house, right?
Yes. Yeah, my parents bought it in 1970 and we moved in 1980.
Wow, girl, thinking about this, I want to watch. When is it? Saturday and Sunday, or just Saturday?
It starts Friday at 5 o'clock, and it will have my whole family. My father and my sister Nancy are flying in tomorrow. I've been here since yesterday.
So Friday through Sunday.
Yep, and it's going to go straight through until 1 a.m. Monday morning. So straight through Halloween, and we've got some of the best investigators in the entire country.
Can you tell me?
A part of it.
Can you tell me two things? One, who's going to be a part of it, and two, is there a fee? I'm sure my viewers want to know if there's a fee to join in.
Yeah, it's $20 for the entire weekend.
Oh, it's nothing.
It's like the deal of the century. And then if you can't, obviously nobody can watch it 24/7. But once you get a ticket to the event, you can watch it with a bunch of people. Have people over to your house or whatever to celebrate the holiday. And then you'll have access to all of the film footage for I think the next week or two.
Oh, that's so
if
fun.
you missed any, you can go back and watch it again. But it's going to be, there's nothing like this that's ever been done. My mother said a long time ago she would never go back to the house, and she's always been true to her word. Cindy has had a bad experience during the filming of Kindred Spirits with Amy Bruni and Adam Berry and Chip Coffey. And they were absolutely lovely, but she had an encounter in the house with a spirit that apparently didn't want her there, and so she has made the decision that she won't go back to the farm ever again. And Christine is my mother's caregiver, so she can't leave Mom. So Mom and Christine and Cindy are going to come in remotely and can interact with. We're going to have an open chat room where viewers can actually talk to the different investigators. We have Susan Slaughter and Mustafa and Brandon and oh my God.
Oh wow, you guys got everyone.
Yeah, we've got some really great people. Most of them are flying in tomorrow. I was with Susan all day long. She's just so delightful. And but they won't let me in the house yet because, they literally will not let me in the house because they said that, when I go in the house, it activates the spirits, and they're trying to establish a baseline of activity to be able to do some comparative analysis, how it was before I got there, how it was after I got there. And, I totally get that. So I was on the property today, but I was stuck inside a trailer.
How did that feel, though? Like, how did it feel? Because for spirit, my understanding is the minute that they come back, it's like that time never passed.
Right.
So, right. For them, it's like, oh, you're coming back home. Here we are.
Yeah. Well, okay. Let me tell you what happened. We're in this trailer that's set up outside the house in the parking area. And while Susan Slaughter and I were doing one interview after another, we did a press junket for 6 hours this morning, starting at 7 o'clock in the morning.
That's brutal.
Like coast to coast, one news station after another, ABC and NBC and CBS and, San Antonio Live, and on and on and on. And so about halfway through it, we started getting spirit activity in the trailer.
Yes, that was going to be my next question. Because spirit isn't confined to the walls of a house.
Right. And they liked being talked about, and they were excited, and they wanted to be part of it, I guess, because all of a sudden we started catching all kinds of, the way it works is they've got you in a Zoom link or something, and when we finish an interview, Susan would look at me and she said, "Did you see that?" And I'm like, "Honey, I've been seeing activity all through this trailer, flashes of light and arcs of light." And, I told her, I said, "I don't know if it's ETs, I don't know if it's spirit, I don't know what it is, but they know we're here and what we're doing." And so they're making their presence known. It was amazing. I'd be thrilled to see if, viewers that were tuned into these different feeds caught anything as they were watching it on their TVs.
I'm sure that they can record it. Especially if they're doing it with their iPhones, you can screen record.
Yeah.
Not to give anybody any crazy ideas, but I'm totally going to tune in. I'm going to tune in.
Great.
So I have some questions.
You can talk to my whole family.
Right. Everybody's going to be there. Guys, our whole family's going to be there. Either in person or live. So, get your questions together. I have a question that I really want you to answer. And it was the question that I posed to you before we went on break. If you had the opportunity to ask Bathsheba one thing, what would it be?
I actually, I think that before I would even ask her if what she was accused of happened, I would ask her if she knows how I have defended her honor. And I think I already know the answer to that, and the answer would be yes. I have been the one that has at least, I can't absolve her of anything that she may have been accused of, but I can certainly give her the benefit of the doubt. And I just don't think that you should ever accuse somebody of committing a murder unless you've got some bona fide evidence to suggest that it happened.
Right.
I really do believe that she was the victim of rumor and innuendo. But I would ask her first and foremost if she knows how I have defended her. And I think that the answer would be absolutely yes.
Can I share something with you?
Sure.
One of the things that, as I watched the interview time and time again, one of the things that I felt, and I could feel her energy in watching this interview. And one of the things that I kept seeing were candles that were being lit for her.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yep.
It's just a validation. Yes, she discusses candles that are being lit in her honor for her soul. And
Yes.
there was a special thank you from her for that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, her gravesite in Harrisville, we went past it today, and it's covered in coins and flowers and candles. And, the woman died in 1885, and her story is no longer in obscurity. And even though The Conjuring twisted it and vilified her in unseemly ways, I think that, I'm not saying that Mrs. Warren was wrong by identifying her as, a bitter spirit that might be hanging around the house. But then to blame all the activity on her, I think was a leap too far.
Right.
And so, but I don't blame Mrs. Warren for that either, because, she's a human being too, and we all make mistakes. But I think that what she was picking up was a sense, Bathsheba lived a long and, by all accounts, a pretty miserable life. And she lost 3 of her 4 children before the age of 4. All their little tiny gravestones are next to hers.
God bless you.
Can you even imagine?
No.
Can you even
Absolutely
imagine
not.
that?
Nope, absolutely not. I cannot. It's heartbreaking
Yes.
on every
is.
level, and I don't think you don't even have to be a parent to feel that. It's just horrible for anyone to live through. It's hard enough surviving the death of 1 child, but surviving 3, you would have to take me out to the pastures.
Yes.
All right. So our viewers, I have a few questions for you.
Okay.
Jonathan A. His question is, can Andrea explain what happened with her mom with the hanger incident?
No. No, and I saw it happen, and I can't explain it.
Okay. So the answer.
That was something, whatever it was, that had a hold of that hanger, and that was beating my mother around the neck and the head and the shoulders. Went after her with a vengeance and was utterly and entirely invisible.
That's wild. All right. Cynthia Reyes asks, does Andrea believe that her experience as a child is what began her journey with the spiritual, or had she been touched with this gift before that?
Oh, that's a great question. I think that I went into that house not knowing that I had certain perceptive gifts. I think that I always knew, as far back as I can remember, I always felt different. I always felt like a misfit. I wondered why I was here on this planet, why it felt so foreign to me, as beautiful as it is, why I was even here. I had an innate ability to communicate with animals, and I mean really communicate with animals.
You were born 5D, baby. That's why.
Yeah. And so moving to the farmhouse, I think, unlocked that. And I've always said that my ability to communicate with extraterrestrials was brought to the forefront by moving into that house, and seeing and interacting with spirits is what pried my third eye wide open. And it's interesting because I was there today with Susan Slaughter and some of the producers, and I was standing out in the driveway, and I said to them, this is exactly where I was standing 50 years ago this week, when I saw an entire flotilla of ships pass over this house, and it changed everything. From that moment on, I knew two things. I knew that what I was seeing was not manufactured on this planet, and I knew that we were not alone in the universe from that moment on, and this is precisely where I was standing. And, not for nothing, it was pretty chilly outside, but every single one of them were like, oh my God, they all started rubbing their arms, and the goosebumps just rose up on them.
I'm a firm believer. I'm a firm believer, and you and I have had this conversation. And I don't know if you had a chance to watch the predictions that I shared at the end of August, beginning of September, where I discussed that there was going to be some findings within the next year that was actually going to be brought to light publicly, not being shooed away. And it's a slow progress in the right direction.
Yes.
But it is progress nonetheless, because it's been, swept under the carpet long enough, like everything else, and it's time that we actually start owning up to what is real, that we are not the only beings of light. And we have to step beyond that fear. All right, last question, my dear. Now, I'm going to read this the way it was written, and hopefully it comes out the way it was intended. It says, Annie, I'm over here. No, I don't want to show me. Annie, can you talk about how your mother would emerge spiritually as if from a, let me repeat that again. I don't know if this is worded correctly. Annie, you talk about how your mother would emerge spiritually as if from a crisis. Did those transformations continue for her after leaving the farm as she gained more perspective? So my understanding is, did it continue after she left the farm?
I think that it would be fair to categorize my mother, as an atheist when we moved to the farm. She was raised Southern Baptist. She converted to Catholicism in order to marry my father, because that's how it was done back in the day. But she wasn't really a believer. My mother is a believer in science, and not so much spirituality. By the time we left that farm, my mother was a firm believer in a higher power, and a benevolent power. And I'll tell you why. When there was a crisis in that house, the one and only thing that would stop it was invoking the name of God to intercede on her behalf, and it stopped it every single time.
Wow. Thus, she is a believer.
Yes, she is now. My mother was not one to ever pray, she'd go to church with us and everything, and kept up, for appearances, and to, provide her children with some kind of spiritual foundation. But, when the priest at our parish had suggested to my father that he take his family and worship elsewhere, because my little sister April spoke up in church at Easter Mass and said, at the end of the Mass, the priest said, and the Father and the Son and the Holy Ghost. And my little 6-year-old sister turned to my mother and she said, see, Mom, God has ghosts too, just like us.
I guess
big girl outdoor voice.
With that being said, we are all ethereal beings.
Yes. Well, the priest asked us not to come back to the church. And my mother, on the way home, said, girls, if you want to know God, go to the woods.
Fair enough. Because God is within everything that exists and that is alive. I love that. And I love you. Annie, where can where can my audience find you? What's your website? Your books? You have a new book coming out, I believe we discussed.
Yes, an extended edition of the book I've been selling privately for 2 years is coming out, and that's called A Wonder to Behold, and I will post it everywhere when my publisher says go. So that'll be before the end of the year. I've been promising people for months, but I've been adding to it, because it's all about our galactic family and the paradigm shift, and so I've been adding to it. But the best way to find me, actually, to reach out to me personally, is on my fan page, the Buttercup Brigade. That is, we're the good deed doers that wear rose-colored glasses, like we're the weirdos.
I follow that. I follow the Buttercup Brigade.
I know you do, darling. Yeah, that's the fastest, easiest way to get in touch with me. All of my books are available on Amazon, although I've been told that all of them are out of stock right now, that they can't print them fast enough.
That's not the worst problem to have.
It's really not. I'm not complaining. I'm grateful to everyone that wants to know our story. And I do know that they can deliver them immediately as downloads. If you've got an e-reader. So, yeah, I'm everywhere. All you have to do is just Google my name. But this weekend, you can actually talk to me and my family online at thedarkzone.tv. Click the link, get a ticket. You are in Lake Flint, in that farmhouse for Halloween weekend.
And all that for only $20.
$20. You can't even go to a movie theater for that
That's
anymore.
right. Well, honey, I love you so much. Have a great time, and I'm going to be checking in on you on thedarkzone.tv.
Excellent. Excellent. I love you too. All the best.
Bye,
Best
sweetie.
wishes for a happy Halloween.
That's right. Bye, honey.
Bye.
Oh, I love her. Guys, I'll be taking your questions also. We'll be right back after this quick break. Sitting here and I feel like the spiritual Jimmy Kimmel. Hi. Whoa, hey Belly Mel. Looking like hot sauce baby this evening. All right, where am I looking? Where am I? Till we went. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining us this evening. Sorry while we worked out our technical kinks, but it's okay. This is life. It happens. This is a live show. And we are human and we are unapologetic. And we thank you for hanging out with us during the season premiere of Hey Nene. Thank you to our sponsors who have rocked out with us. Simone Craig, Soulshine Crystal, Sandy Fernandez of Karmic Currency. You guys are amazing. Thank you for believing in our Hearts Project. I want to save this space for anyone who may have questions for me. As always, I close out the show in service for you because this is what Hey Nene is all about. Being able to help guide you and bring you some inner peace. So if anybody has questions for me, I'm happy to answer them for you. And let me start by saying, everybody, thank you so much. I can't really see who's over on the YouTube. There seems to be a bunch of comments, and I'm not going to lie, guys, my glasses stink. And for everybody who has tuned in on Facebook, thank you so much. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Thank you so much. Over here, I see someone saying, great show, great show, great show. I appreciate you all, and I love you. I truly do. Hi, Ingrid. How are you? Thank you, Cynthia. Thank you for watching. Hi, April. You guys are amazing. We'll be back next week at 7 p.m. YouTube Live. And we have a special guest next week, guys. The rock and roll king of Scream, Christopher St. Booth, will be my special guest. So I can't wait to have him live on the show with me. Yes, we will be live. We will be doing our dialogue live. That one was not pre-recorded. Andrea was so gracious in allowing us to save that interview in our archives for the last year so that we can share it with you today. I do have one question coming up. Mel, I have time. Yeah, I have time. Debbie wants to know, when will you be giving the rest of your predictions for the remainder of the year? I think at the end of the year. I mean, for those of you that followed the ones I gave, I think it was like a month and a half now, I guess. I'm not ready yet to share the rest. I'm just not. I think that these things are happening little by little. I've posted some things, I haven't posted others because, to be honest, once I share my predictions, I don't just stay on top of it watching and waiting for them to happen. I know that they're happening because people are sending me links and saying, Nini, you said this was going to transpire. Look at what happened here. Look at what happened there. And I'm blown away each and every time, as if I wasn't the one who predicted it. So, it's mind-blowing to me still how spirit works and the beauty and the gifts that they impart with my physical vessel. So I'm always in gratitude and in great wonder when these messages are downloaded and I'm able to share them with you. I hope that they are serving you in preparing and being ready. And moving forward, my hope is that the next round of predictions will do the same. So I will make an announcement when those are coming out. So thank you so much, everybody. I look forward to seeing you next week. Our special guest, once again, is Christopher St. Booth. He is the rock and roll king of Scream. And be sure to watch the whole show on youtube.com/HeyNini next week. Thank you so much. Guys, remember, your heart is your home. Always welcome yourself back home.
Today's show is sponsored by SLC Global. SLC Global is a woman-run company by none other than my fave, my friend, the incredible Simone Craig. She is a wealth expert and coach who loves advising her clients from all around the world how to have the mindset and money management skills to create a thriving business and live a wealthy and joyful life. Get a free report called Manifest $5,000 in 5 days at manifestwithsimone.com/5K.
It's okay.
This segment of Hey Nini is brought to you by Karmic Currency. Take a sneak peek into the world of chakras and money. Understanding how your chakra energy directly aligns with your money mindset and relationship to your finances will help you gain clear perspective into them. Do you feel like you're running on empty? Tired and living paycheck to paycheck? Tired of not seeing any real change in your financial life? It's possible that you've been caught in a karmic money drama and a subconscious lack mentality. Somehow settling for less, yet wishing for more. Check out Sandy Fernandez's highly anticipated 7-day challenge, Chakras and Money. You can download it for free at www.chakrasandmoney.com/7_days_challenge.